Yeah. So, just for the recording sake, good morning again, all of you.
Good morning.
And we were
Good
talking,
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning.
yeah, so we were talking about, this quote that I've read, everything is difficult before it becomes easy. So, what does that mean? And then I also had read a quote, not read actually, in my 10th standard autograph book, one of my teacher, physics teacher, Malti ma'am, she wrote, whenever God is going to do something wonderful, he always begins with a difficulty. So now these are quotes which we read, and if they stay with us, they rule our lives for a very long time. Okay. So for me, if the pro and the con, I'm talking both. So the good part of this was, if any difficulty came up, I would just immediately go to, oh, that means God is going to do something wonderful. The bad part of that was that, oh, for something wonderful to happen, difficulty must always come. So, how our belief systems can make our reality, how our point of view can create our reality. I have like questioned everything that, oh, so should I continue to think that whenever God is going to do something wonderful, it begins with a difficulty, or I can just say, no, God is always doing something wonderful. There is no need for difficulty. So these are the things which I learned while working with people, while learning these modalities. A lot of books that I read, self-help books, that it is, it is just the way we see things. The way we see things. Oh my God, this bird sound is so beautiful, Kiran.
Yeah, early morning, so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it because when I wake up, when I'm waking up early, especially, I go to my balcony and I just stand there for like 5 minutes listening to all the sounds of the
Yes.
birds.
The sun
And it's
starts at 4
so
a.m. When you wake
beautiful.
at 6
Yeah,
a.m.
yeah, absolutely.
And there's a direct sunlight coming on my bed, and you can see that.
Actually, even when
So
it is
beautiful.
dark, you can still hear the sounds of the birds. When I'm on my bed, also sometimes if I just wake up at 4 and it's dark outside, the bird
It
sounds
comes.
begins. It's so beautiful to hear them. And thankfully, Pune city has I think the maximum number of birds in India is what
God, yes.
researchers say. So I'm fortunate to hear that many different sounds.
Wow.
So yeah, um, so that everything is difficult before it becomes easy. All of these things I contemplated a lot, and I was like, okay, do I need more difficulties for things to become easier, or um, you know, ha- will does God actually place difficulties in our life for everything to get wonderful? No, it's not like that. It is only the conditioning that we've been brought up in that does not allow us to think that life can be ease, that we can make choices, that we can choose how our life is going to be. That nobody has ever told us. I mean, of course, access consciousness, when I learned access consciousness, that was the first time I ever actually focused on something called we have choice. And nevertheless, most of us think that in the early days, in the early life, we all think that we have no choice. And yesterday I'm doing a course of transactional analysis, in which they say that every child is born with a feeling of, because the parents are grown up so big, so tall, so beautiful, or whatever. The child who's small, he looks at the big person and he thinks that I am not okay. This person is okay. Okay, that I am small, this person is big. And someday I have to reach to that. Okay. Now, this that I am small and you're big just doesn't stay just with the size. You may become that big, or you may become taller than your parents and the people around you. but you may feel very small inside. The child in you may still have a lot of things it has stored where it feels very small for a very, very, very long time. I used to feel really, really small because in my school, my height was always, I was 2 years underage in school. And because I used to talk a lot, they just put me into school very early at the age of 2 in that time. And so I was always smaller because all the children are 2 years older to me. Naturally, they'll be bigger. All my life, I felt I'm so small. And then practically after that, I was not great at studies and everything. So then I'm not qualified enough. Then I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. And then it keeps piling on and on and on and on, you know. And how much ever we gain, how much ever we camouflage it with makeup, or, you go and do 100 degrees or 100 courses to make yourself feel good enough, you still may not feel good enough. Because feeling good enough is not external. It is not how many degrees you have. It is not how beautiful you are. It is not whether you have the maximum money in the world. It is not about any of that. Or whether you have the greatest guy on earth as a partner, or the greatest girl. None of that is actually a criteria which we think may make me feel good enough, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. So these are the things which, when I have conversations with children in the sense young teenagers and other people, when I talk with them, I tell them that the only thing that makes you feel really, truly good enough is when you start doing things that you love to do. And when you start doing things that you love to do with not from a space of, oh my God, pressure,
Happy to it.
that I have to earn money through this, or this has to be this and that. So I love to do healing from a very long time. But for a very long time, I used to, after I separated from my husband. So it was like, oh, I have to earn money through this. And that means if it is my profession, then I have to know how much to charge, what to charge, this, that, everything, calculation, computations. How much ever you keep yourself out of it, but you do get into the grind of things when your basic necessities are big and you don't have that much, in that moment, whatever, or you feel too responsible, like that. Responsibilities can be many, not just money. It can be whether I'm taking good care of my child or not, whether I'm taking good care of my family or not. A lot of things. So when these responsibilities and requirements become bigger than you doing what you love to do joyfully, that is when there comes a time when you reach like a saturation point, and like you're like, even though I love to do this, but I don't want to do it. But why? Is it because you don't love to do that? No. It's because there are so many added agendas to what you're doing. So then that Ikigai book, right? I've read the Ikigai, what gives you money, what you love to do, and there are like 4 things. What are your greatest skills and something like that. 4 things which
And
will
what about needs? What about needs?
needs. So 4 things when you put together, then you get your Ikigai. I'll get the book in I'll tell. One second. So this is the book, Ikigai. Okay, and this is what I'm talking of. I'll share it later on the group. So it's like what you love, passion and mission. Then what the world needs, mission, vocation. And then what you can be paid for, profession, vocation. And then what you are good at, profession and passion. So when all of these interject together, and then the intersection point is your ikigai. Okay, to find, when one has found his or her ikigai, sense of purpose in life, which has some meaning, where life becomes uh, way beyond all the things that we think are important. Everything that we think important, your mission, vision becomes way more important than that, right? When you reach that space, that is when you have found your ikigai. And yeah, some people can find it when they are like, these child prodigies, and like when they are maybe 10 years old. And some people take a lifetime, and some people don't even find it in one lifetime. They may take lifetimes. Uh, and like some of the examples of these would be like people like Lata Mangeshkar and people like A.R. Rahman and like, or Sachin Tendulkar. Um, they reached some level in their whatever they did because they combined all of it, and that became the purpose. It gave them sense of purpose in life, playing for the country, and then cricket is passion also. It gives me money also, and like the world also needs that from me. So everything combined together, and that becomes the ikigai. Um, So I have seen this word and everything since a very long time, and I had been asking questions about, okay, what is my ikigai? I realized that it's not just healing or writing that I do. I write poetries and blogs and one-to-one sessions and getting people out of big diseases. Also, I worked with cancer and a lot of things I worked with, which of course it gave me a lot of happiness. It gave me also some amount of money, and it also gave me a sense of purpose. When I you know um started this particular, like this now, this soul temple thing, this just made me feel that maybe this was what I was longing to do, that every day being a contribution in some form or manner, and every day receiving something from the people, everyday interaction with people. I love people. There are my friends who say that, Bandana, oh my God, you love people too much. So yes, I do. At this, and earlier it was family, relatives, meeting with everybody, and spending time with family and relatives, which is also fun. I don't like. I'm not at all unhappy about that bit. I have loved my life as a housewife for almost 15 years plus. I was a housewife, and I used to love being a housewife. I never had any regrets about that because I love my children. I love my mother-in-law. I used to love being at home and doing the household jobs and everything. If the reason for coming out of it was not that I was unhappy with the work that I was doing, I was unhappy with the environment that I was living in. And that environment was not very conducive for development of my children. And of course, it led to depression in my children and stuff like that. However, um, those are all past stories. So I don't want to like recreate any of that. What I'm trying to say is, we all, the seeking that we all have, right? We don't know what we are looking for. What is my seeking? Nobody knows. When you come to a space in life that wherever you are, you don't feel the need to change it. whoever you are, you don't feel the need to change it. Whatever you're doing, you don't feel the need to change it. When change becomes a natural way of being, when change is happening every day just by you being you, um, when change is not I have to change, when because I have to change, I need to change is always coming from a space of I'm not good enough. Okay, I have to do this, I must do this, I should do this. All of this is coming from a space of I'm not good enough. And then if, oh, you must do this, you should do this, you are supposed to do this, you are not doing this, that is coming from I'm too good and you're not good enough. Both spaces aren't the best spaces to be in. Feeling, that hierarchy coming in, that I know better, you don't know, I am good enough, you are not, or I'm not good enough, you are. So this transactional analysis that I was, participating in the book read of Vibhuti, where the 4 life positions that we all take are, I'm not okay, you're okay. I am okay, you're not okay. I'm not okay, you're also not okay. And then I'm okay, you're okay. Obviously, the best position will be I'm okay, you're okay, right? Win-win situation that we call it. But does it happen? Is that something in this world that can come just naturally? No, it doesn't. You have to work on that. It requires work. It requires effort. It requires the desire to move beyond the conditioning and comfort zones and comparison and complaints and criticisms and criticism. When I say criticism, it's not just you criticizing others, even the people who criticize you. Okay. So all of that, when you uh, put it all together, that is when you actually, you know, can be able to see beyond that. Okay. When I was in college, my college, one of my beautiful Hindi teachers, she used to say that, that whenever you're pointing fingers at the others, 3 fingers point to you. So never point fingers at others. And I was very, very literal. I still pretty much am very literal, but not that much as I was when a kid. Um, so the moment she said that, it just stayed. Okay, so whenever, if I have to find fault with anybody else, if anybody does anything wrong or bad to me, first I would always go and check what are the 3 things I did because of which they did that to me. So in this scenario, what happened all my life, I only kept thinking that no, I did these 3 things, that's why they did one bad thing to me. And then how much of a bad anybody does, I will always feel that no, I am only the culprit. That created a lot of pain in my life after some time. Because then for everything I used to think that I'm the culprit. For everything I used to think I didn't do the correct thing. And that was like big time, I'm not okay, you're okay. You're all, everybody else is good, I'm not good. Okay. And that is where the whole, seeking began. And then when I learned Access Consciousness, the first time when it said, stop judging you, I was like, really? I was like, okay, I've never heard this before. And then when I heard that, and slowly it took time for me to come to a space of stop judging you and stop judging others. Uh, Even when you're judging others as great, good, oh my God, that person is superb, that is also judgment. Because even the greatest person, even if I seem to be like fantastic right now to you guys, because I'm like taking out time and I'm sharing stuff with you and you're liking it, still I also have my lopsides. I also have my inner demons. We all have it. So we all have shadows, we all have dark sides. So making somebody bigger, big guru, this, that is also judgment. Making somebody smaller, stupid, idiot, this person doesn't know anything, la la la, that's also judgment. Making yourself both is also judgment, right? So, to come to a space of stopping to judge yourself and anybody, it takes like a hell a lot of effort. It is not just doing one Access Consciousness class and you reach there, or one Soul's Temple and you reach there. No, 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 no. It won't happen that way. Okay, it didn't happen that way for me, and doesn't happen also. I and this I'm not saying from personal space. I have met, like, it would, people might think I'm exaggerating, but I've met at least 10,000 people in the last 10 years. Okay, where out of that, at least 3,000 people I would have worked one-to-one, at least, or maybe more actually, maybe 5,000 people. Okay, and remaining I would have met in masses in my workshops and soft skills and all of that. So when I'm saying I've met that many people in my life, I know that many stories of people, because people come and open up to me like, just like that, very simple. Because first thing, when I have come to a space of no judgment of myself and others, people feel secure and safe and free to be able to say that, oh, I made a mistake. Because they know, Acha, she has also made a lot of mistakes. She doesn't judge. So I don't have any air about I've done all the wrong things. I've done all the right things, all the wrong things, everything I've done. And I'm out of all of that, out of the right and wrong. Now I'm not thinking about what I'm doing is right or whether it's wrong. I don't even think. I don't have time to think, honestly. So these are the things, thanks to a lot of workshops I did, a lot of people that I met, a lot of stories I heard, that all of us, in the end, apart from a sense of purpose and meaning, are also, so that is the bigger thing that we are looking for. Basic. What is the basic that we are all looking for? Is it just roti kapda makan? No. Even the people who are struggling for it, or those who have like big bungalows, what is the basic necessity? Can anyone tell me? As a human being, as a,
Receiving love.
yes, receiving love
Receiving
in
and
what?
giving. Receiving and giving unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional love is easier to say than done. But yes,
Yes.
receiving and giving love, I would say yes. What else?
Health,
Yes.
care,
Care, yes. Care can be unconditional, by the way. Because
finding
huh, bolo.
finding peace in yourself so that you
Yeah,
are happy and content in whatever you are doing.
yeah, happy and content in whatever you're being.
Okay, or being, right.
Yeah, what are you being? What are you doing? You may get happy and content in what you're doing, but you may not be happy and content with what you're being.
Mm-hmm.
You may have a thing that, oh, I'm doing the best thing in the world, I love my work and everything, but oh, I'm not being a great wife, or I'm not being a great mother, or I'm not being the greatest daughter. That can be there still, and you may not be
Right.
happy and content with that bit. So it is about happy and content, not even content actually, it is about just being okay. Happy is also too much of a pursuit to have all the time. Nobody can be happy.
Happy.
Okay,
Yeah, true.
so even if all my seeking is about always being happy, I can't always be happy, and
Hmm.
there will be times when I'll be sad. It's very natural. But if I don't want to be natural, that means I will tell no, 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 I don't want to be sad. That's a big camouflage also. नहीं मैं तो हमेशा खुश हूँ, नहीं हो सकता है कोई भी हमेशा खुश. Okay, so the thing is, it is to just become okay with whatever you're being. If I'm being sad, I'm okay with who I am being. If I'm happy, I'm okay with who I'm being. If I'm angry, I'm okay with who I'm being. First, when we get okay with who we are being and we stop resisting who we are being, then there is a possibility of change. Because as long as I don't want to see who I am being, no. I'm not sad at all. I don't want to see that. Then there is no possibility of change. Because unless you're willing to look at that part of you, you can't change it. So that will continue to stay. What you resist will persist always. So saying from there, where I want to come to is, anything is a habit in our lives. And habits can be cultivated and habits can be changed. Even the thought patterns are habits. The actions are habits. Behaviors are habits. Like for example, Abhi, I don't wake up early, but last 2-3 days I am waking up early, right? Because it'll become a habit in 1 month to wake up early. It's just small changes. But to wake up early, when I don't have anything to do, I had to create something that gave me so much joy in waking up early. Right? That is the Ikigai. And so first it starts with that something called unconscious incompetence, which means I don't even know that I don't have that competence. Unconscious incompetence. Then it converts, then when you see people doing something, for example, painting. I don't know how to paint, okay? But as a kid, I don't even know that I don't know how to paint well. I don't know what painting is. That is unconscious incompetence. Then suddenly, I see people painting, I see some painting, I'm like, oh wow, how do people do that? Okay, so you come to a space of conscious incompetence. I know that I don't know, okay? And then you will go take a paintbrush, you'll go join some class, you'll try to develop something. And then you'll come to a space of conscious competence by learning, developing skills in that area. So you come to a space of conscious competence. And then when you do it every day of your whatever, say 3 months, it becomes unconscious competence. And then then it is effortless, absolutely effortless. Because then it's like driving. When you started driving, accelerator, clutch, oh, where is this gear, brake, blah, 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 everything, you'll have to be focused on it. You'll join a driving school. First of all, you'll say, I don't know driving, and then you'll join a driving school, and then you'll be with all of those things. Then when you're driving also, you'll be a little conscious, I should not hit anybody, blah, blah, blah. And then one day, oh, you're driving and you're talking on the phone and you're listening to music and it's all good. It's become a unconscious competence. So anything that we really wish to imbibe in our life, we have to get okay with, I don't know it yet. Okay. And then you can get into like, okay, fine. Now that I know that I don't know, what do I want to do about it? And then after that, when you get going and start learning things and start developing skills, then practice, persistence in practice, and then doing it every day, every single day. And then one day it becomes effortless. So that is my journey with healing and Soul's Temple and Access and the tools that I've learned. Because thankfully I learned all this before Access and before healing, this competence theory and everything. So that's why whenever I used to learn, I was like, okay, I have to practice, I have to do. So I was always persistent. I was always practicing the tools. And I never took it took it for granted that I did it one time and it's done. No, I used to practice every day, every single day. Today, everybody tells me, oh my God, Vandana, the healing that you do is like, how? Did I just happen one day like this? I may have been a born healer, but then I was not a skillful healer till date. I developed that skills. I developed those beautiful skills to become a master in my field, okay, an expert in my field. And then once you become an expert, then what? Do you get satisfied? that, okay, fine, now I've become an expert. Now I don't need to do anything else. No, but then you have to sharpen your axe on a regular basis, upgrading skills, learning new things, and getting, not just getting more knowledge. It's also knowledge attributes only 10-15% to your success. Okay, it may sound very weird, but yeah, that's the only requirement for being successful. 10 to 15%. 35%, 30 to 35% is the skills that play a major role in you becoming successful. 50 to 60% is your attitude towards everything in life, which plays a major role in anybody becoming highly successful. And what is attitude? Attitude is the way we see life, the way we respond, the way we think life is supposed to be, the way we have, either gotten used to the habits or the willingness to change those habits which are not working for us. All of these matter for us to come to a space of, I'm okay with who I am. So all of this takes, this much to come to a space. And then when people see these big stars and celebrities and highly successful people, we all want to become like that, but most of them don't want to do the process. We just want to one day become that. Even Buddha didn't get enlightened in one day. Okay. And even after Buddha got enlightened, he didn't stop working even one day. Till his death, till his last breath, he was teaching Vipassana to people. Till his last breath. Okay. So that is, even after becoming Buddha, he didn't stop working. So it's enlightenment is not one day I became enlightened. Or healing is not one day I'm healed, whole and complete. Now I'll never need healing again. No. That's the issue with people. They think, oh, I did one healing session and everything should get better. Okay. I went for one workshop and everything must change. No, it won't. Sorry. Okay. It has to be a daily, like how you take daily bath to keep yourself clean. You have to daily empty yourself. You have to daily work on your thoughts. Daily you have to see what is my attitude today towards everything in life, towards people that I'm with. Where am I uncomfortable? And if I'm uncomfortable, what am I doing to get okay? All of that matters. And that is where Soul's Temple is a big time help. It's the easiest thing to practice, like literally the easiest thing to practice. Anything, you can just say, this is my Soul's Temple, this is my Soul's Temple. Even if you don't say my need for this, my resistance to let go of this, simply getting into the practice of saying like everything, this thought is my Soul's Temple, this feeling is my Soul's Temple. My need for this feeling is my Soul's Temple. My resistance to let go of this feeling is my Soul's Temple. And suddenly you're okay. You're just okay with that feeling. Okay. So we are at 7:20. So today what I'm doing is I'm going to do a group thing, like how we did, I think, yesterday also. Morning is a good time for me to be in this channeling space, and that's why I don't like to take demos and work on one person here, because it's a time when I can like actually connect to the whole group and see what's required and say that. So for 10 minutes we'll just do a group thing. What all of us have to do is repeat what I'm saying in your mind. Okay. And you can keep your hands like this, or you can just sit relaxed, doesn't matter. And because I'm recording and I'm going to put this on YouTube. I'm changing this. Cool. So close your eyes. Get centered. All that this conversation that we had and all the thinking that you're doing in your own space about the conversations we had, we're going to simply do Soul's Temple and see how we feel after that. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. The difficulties in my life are my soul's temple. My need, my perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My perception about what is difficult is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to my perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to the perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to the perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to the perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to the perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to the perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. My need to hold on to the perception of what is difficult and what is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. What I think is easy is my soul's temple. My need to stay in my comfort zone of easy and difficult together is my soul's temple. My need to stay in my comfort zone of the easy and the difficult together is my soul's temple. My need to stay in the comfort zone of the easy and the difficult together is my soul's temple. My need to stay in my comfort zone of the easy and difficult together is my soul's temple. My need to stay in my comfort zone of the easy and difficult together is my soul's temple. My need to stay in my comfort zone of the easy and difficult together is my soul's temple. My need to stay in my comfort zone of the easy and the difficult together is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. My resistance to let go of all my perceptions about easy and difficult is my soul's temple. Moving beyond my perceptions and choosing ease is my soul's temple. Moving beyond all perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul's temple. Moving beyond all these perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul's temple. Moving beyond all these perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul's temple. Moving beyond all these perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul state. Moving beyond all these perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul state. Moving beyond all these perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul state. Moving beyond all these perceptions and choosing ease of being is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. Being open and willing to stop judging myself is my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body are my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body are my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body are my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body are my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body are my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body are my soul state. All the judgments of other people that I have solidified in my body is my soul state. My need to hold on to judgment of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My need to hold on to the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My need to hold on to the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My need to hold on to the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My need to hold on to the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My need to hold on to the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My need to hold on to the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. My resistance to let go of the judgments of others and my self-judgments is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with whom I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who I am being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. Being okay and comfortable with who others are being in this moment is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. The comfort that I perceive in being relaxed in my mind and body is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed in most of the circumstances in my life is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed and calm in the maximum circumstances of my life is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed in the maximum circumstances of my life is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed in maximum circumstances of my life is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed in maximum circumstances of my life is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed in maximum circumstances of my life is my soul state. Choosing to be relaxed in maximum circumstances of my life is my soul state. Now connect to your body and see how relaxed you're feeling in this moment. And then we're going to talk about how are you feeling. And we will end.
Vanna, the mornings are the time when, this goes on and on and on. ये करना, ये करना, ये करना, ये करना. But right now in this moment, like सब थम सा गया है और एक ठहराव सा महसूस हो रहा है. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to share?
This was the topic that I was wanting to deal with: the self-judgments and judgments of others, and how to stabilize my mind. And thank you for giving me the same and making me peaceful. Of course, I'll need to do more and more of it.
Yeah, if you continue to do this, if something resonates more, what you can do is do that repetitively every day for a couple of days, right? I'll be sharing the recording and
Thank
you can
you.
continue.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Vandana, even I'm feeling so relaxed. I was very uneasy in the morning, weakness, but now my mind and body both are relaxed and I'm okay.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Vijay.
I'm really grateful.
I'm grateful too for all of you to take out time, wake up in the morning and receive what I'm sharing. It gives me immense joy and gratitude.
God bless you.
Thank you. Yes. So if anybody else wants to share anything, otherwise we can disperse. I think, Gunjan, you're saying something? You have to unmute.
Today morning when I got up, the first word that came to my mind, really what happens is always like, I have to do this, do this, do this today. So I'm just trying to control my mind that as I get up, I don't want to think so many things. Let me get up, be fresh, say to the God, and then think about. I got up today and the word came only grateful. Only that word came to me.
That's
And I'm feeling
beautiful.
so light about doing today the Soul's Temple, this one. I'm feeling very relaxed and light. I can plan so many more things because already there in my mind. I
Yeah.
think I can channelize it better to do
Yes.
my doings
Everyday
better.
jobs.
Everyday
Absolutely.
jobs. Yeah.
When you are relaxed, you can definitely perform way better than when you're pressurized and
Yes.
stressed.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this
Yeah.
is the idea. Like if we all can begin our mornings like this and the sleep, before we sleep, if we could do Soul's Temple, how much more productive and constructive we would be instead of being stressed and worried and concerned. And if we may think, oh, खाली मेरे करने से क्या होगा? नहीं, खाली एक person के करने से ripple effect सबको जाता है.
Huh.
Right? So begin with you, begin with you. Then automatically people will choose other people in the family and, your loved ones and children and whoever. But it starts with you. the change. The difficulties didn't start with you. They came as a package deal.
It was gifted.
It was gifted to you by your grandparents, parents, ancestors, lineage, everything. But the change starts with you. And the person who is willing to change and takes up this journey to change, not because, again, we start always thinking that we are not good enough. It's okay to begin that way. Strive to come to a place of, yeah, now I'm just every day changing because I love the change. I enjoy change. It's fun to change. It's essential to change. And it is, rejoicing the change. That we
True.
all have to come to that space, where change is not, we know change is the only constant, but how much we resist change.
Change.
But how about like every day the little changes that are showing up? हाँ यार मजे आ रहे हैं, change कर रही हूँ मैं, अपनी habit change कर रही हूँ. Instead of telling to myself, see, all your life you wasted 50 years, you didn't wake up early. See, when you're waking up early, how good it is, you're doing good work. You just wasted your life.
No regrets. No regrets.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever we have done, although it's very good, what I'm doing also is very good.
Absolutely. That is being
Live in the
relaxed
present.
in the
Yeah.
moment, in the mind and the body. That, yeah, fine. What I enjoyed like before that, sleeping till 10 o'clock. Now I'm enjoying waking up. Tomorrow, if I want to sleep till 10, I'll do that also. Nothing. There is no solidified reality that this is what it is supposed to be. Right? So that is the fun, right? That because then when you're being you in any moment, it's so much fun, joy, laughter all the way. No, even the difficult things don't even become, they become, they seem easy. The difficulties are easy. Nothing is difficult after that. That is where we all have to go. That, oh, what is difficulty? I don't know. I can do everything. Reaching that space. Chalo, thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a
Bye-bye. Good
great
day.
day.
Thank
Now,
you.
thank you. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.